Lord's helped us. So thankful how He's kept us through these past few weeks. I tell you, the Lord's been good. Maybe they were singing that song right on time a while ago. There's been times, no doubt. Appreciate it. No doubt there's been times in our life, in our walk with the Lord, that we felt like, Lord, are you going to move in this, whatever it might be the matter at the time. Lord, are you going to move in this when I need it to? And maybe when you read about it, them sisters calling for Jesus to come, and their brother was bad sick, and he told his disciples, we're going to wait a little while before we get over there. Sometimes that's the way it is with us. We feel like, Lord, right now is when you need to come. Right now is the very time I need. And every time the Lord comes right on time. Every time the Lord, He comes right on the scene. Maybe we've been enjoying getting to come out here. The times we've got to come out here, and when you guys wasn't open and you was having outside, when we get to see some of those. And the Lord still, He's right there, right on time. He's right there, right on time. I know sometimes the devil make us think that it ain't never going to happen. The devil wants you to think you ain't going to get that help tonight. He wants you to think that you just can reach as far as you can reach, and you're not going to get a hope. But I'm telling you, man, I serve one that's He's able to help us, and He will help us, and He does help us. I'm so thankful. Appreciate the Lord. Appreciate how He keeps us. Appreciate every time that the Lord shields us and helps us, and what He does. We've just got a small thought on our heart tonight. We'll try to share with you. Like for you to get help. Like for you to be encouraged. The day we live in, a lot of times, a lot of people want to look at that glass half empty. And when the glass is half empty, it's still half full. And man, we're still on our way. We're still pushing forward, and we're so thankful. If you'd like to read along with us tonight, we'll be in the 27th chapter of Acts tonight. If you'd like to read along. But so glad of what God's done. So He's helped us, He's kept us, and He's been there right on time, just like they were singing the song. 27th chapter of Acts tonight. I've got two small spots right here to read after. And in the 27th chapter, 18th verse, I apologize, I hadn't already told you. But basically, Paul he's a prisoner, and he's been put on a ship, and we're already out at sea right here. So just for the sake of time, we're going to start at verse 18. Verse 18 says, and being exceedingly tossed with a tempest, the next day they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackle of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was taken away. But after long absence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, sirs, ye should have hearkened unto me, and have not loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. Verse 22 says, and now I exhort you to be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but of the ship. We'll go over same chapter, verse 30. It said, and as the shipmen were about to flee out of the ship, when they had let down the boat into the sea under color, as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, except these abide in the ship, ye cannot be saved. We appreciate you standing for the reading of the word. Maybe if we could just get a small thought, and it'll definitely take the Lord helping us tonight, but if we could have a small thought to stay in the boat. Maybe right here, there's probably been no doubt times in your life that maybe you felt like the Lord was leading you a certain direction, and you kind of wanted to do what you wanted to do. There's been times you thought, I know best, and God don't know best, and we've all been there, or I've been there. If you've never been there, then praise God, you've excelled a little past most of us. But maybe Paul told them we shouldn't leave right now. We shouldn't. And the devil right now tell us in the middle of this storm we got going on, in the middle of the trial that you're going through right now, the devil say, why don't you just get out of the boat? Why don't you just leave the Lord? Why don't you just figure out that you can do it yourself? And Paul, he snuck away, or didn't really sneak away, but he got to himself and he was talking to the Lord. And as he was talking to the Lord told him, if they'd stay in the ship, if we'll stay with the Lord tonight, if we'll just stay with the Lord's going to see us through. There's times that maybe it gets dark. You know, in our natural 24-hour day, the sun will start going down and it'll start getting dark. And in our spiritual walk, sometimes we're going through that darkness. We're going through that spot where you're thinking, Lord, am I ever going to get through this? And the devil start telling you that the Lord's forsaken you. Just like, no doubt, those two sisters, Mary and Martha, no doubt it was just like when the devil was talking to them. Jesus ain't going to come to your rescue. He ain't going to help you tonight. And you know, the Lord on the other end, he was telling his disciples, we've got to stay here just a little bit. Basically, so he can do this miracle for this family, for these folks. And the thing that the Lord wants to help you with, the devil doesn't want you to obtain that. And if he can just get you just to go ahead and throw down your anchor, if you would say that, and climb away from the Lord, get away from the Lord, he'll tell you how dark it is and how bad it is. And the whole time, all you need to do is just stay in the boat. Just stay in the boat. There's been dark times in my life. Maybe Brother Sparks was referring, and I apologize that he's lost some family. But there's times we've all lost family. Yeah. And what I mean, you know, they pass away. That's part of the plan. We're not here forever, but we miss that loved one. I've got loved ones that's went on and things of that sort, and I've had heavy hearts. There's been times, and it's times when we feel like we're at our weakest. The devil wants to come on there. It ain't going to happen. Why don't you just basically get out of the boat? Why don't you just give up? Why don't you just throw up your hands? But the whole time the Lord's still right. He ain't changed. The Lord ain't changed. Maybe my children, they probably don't fall out with me or nothing like this, but they've never known nothing. But there's been always cell phones. I didn't have a personal cell phone until I got when I was working over in Georgetown. I got my first cell phone, one of those big dudes. One of those big, you know, it wasn't quite as big as this microphone, but you know, and the time we live in now, that they got new technology they can't imagine. Time before that, the devil want to cloud you up and look at this new thing that's came on the scene. You ain't going to be able to get through this. The Lord ain't changed none. The technology, I don't know what I'm not technical savvy. I can't hardly run a computer. I didn't like computers. And if you do, man, that's just good. I just ain't good at it. And maybe there's people that can do things with these computers and just make you be like, wow. You realize God ain't surprised by how smart, if you've got an Android or an Apple phone. God does, He exceeds that. That's not nothing new for God, the thinking of that. He knows all of our hairs in our head. He knows the sand on the sea. And when I start thinking about how far, there's been times we've had an opportunity to go to the beach, to the ocean. And that water comes up so far. That's as far as you can go. That storm in your life comes up so far. And that's as far as it can go. Right, brother. But Jesus, you don't understand. We've done buried Lazarus. Come on. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. How are we going to get through this? God's still in charge. How are we going to get through this? Maybe I believe it was this morning Brother Sparks was talking about when the devil pulled out of heaven and he took a third of the angels with him. God still got more power. God's still in control. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. That's right. Maybe I'll just read this. I don't know how long we've been up, but I feel good right now. But over in John, and I've used this scripture before on different messages, but the Lord was talking to his disciples. 6th chapter, 67th verse. And let's just read 66th verse. It said, from that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Verse 67 says, then said Jesus unto the 12, will you also go away? Question mark. And Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life. Stay in the boat. I ain't saying nobody's right there on the edge fixing to jump over, but this is what I felt like the Lord gave me. And stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. In the natural, I can't swim a lick. I can't really even, I don't think I can float. I get paranoid and I want my feet on the ground. So I can't swim. So if you was to have took me out in a natural boat and we get out in some water way deeper than I am tall, you probably ain't going to have much problem with me thinking, hey, I'm just going to get over out in the water. In the spiritual way, there's too much out there that devil, he'll just consume us. He'll just take us under. He'll just overpower us. Just stay right there with the Lord. Lord, I want what you got, man. These songs have sounded so good tonight. And this morning, there's a sister over here. She took off running. If you wasn't here, maybe you missed it. Took off running. Man, maybe some more of them should have ran. She's feeling good. She's feeling good. Another sister, she said that, I believe she said, if don't hold me, I believe she said last Sunday she asked the Lord to help her with something. And this Sunday she said, I'm going to praise Him. I guess the Lord had moved or whatever the need was. And she walked back and forth and she got really excited. She got real stirred up. Sister Marcia singing that song this morning. If we ain't careful, the devil will tell you, look what's going on out there. Lord, we've called for you. We've asked you to help us. There's been a time I put in for jobs and either didn't get an interview, or if I did get an interview, I didn't get the job. I'm like, man, I wanted to get that job. I don't know why God had reasons for me not to, but He did. I don't know why He had reasons for me to do however He done, but He did. When I was a senior in high school, and I'd been raised around this, and I feared God, but I wasn't saved, and I was sitting in the church house that little night, and the Lord started knocking at my heart, started drawing me. And I made the best decision of my entire life, and I'm so thankful. There's been a few times the devil, and I'm talking about me, you've been a few times the devil said, why don't you just basically jump over, why don't you give up, why don't you throw up your hands? Lord, I got to stay with you. I got to stay in the boat. I got to stay right here. You have the words of eternal life. God has been there when I didn't know what I needed, and He knew what I needed. And you change your prayer a little bit. Say, Lord, just help me to want what I need instead of me want what I want. There's been a few times that I wanted what I wanted, and I got them, and it really wasn't something I needed or I should have had. You think, Brother Craig, that's awful odd. I'm just passing through here. I'm just going through here. You look at, don't have to say out loud, but look at the age that you are right now. How quick does it feel like your life has actually went by? How quickly does it feel like that you went from when you started remembering to right now? I graduated in 1992. I don't remember a lot of dates, but I remember that we graduated on May 23rd, which I believe was yesterday, And I started doing the mathematics on that. Wow. That's been a long time ago since I was a kid. 1992. That's a long time. It just went fast. Time is so fastly going by. Stay in the boat. What's going to matter? Whether you obtain $1 million, whether the Lord knows you. What's going to matter as long as the Lord's pleased with you. I appreciate the Lord. Appreciate Brother Sparks. We've been enjoying getting to come out here and he asked us this morning. He said, "Are you scheduled somewhere tonight?" I said, "No." He said, "You are now." We don't have to be scheduled to come. We enjoy getting to come to fellowship with you all. Y'all make us feel welcome. You make us feel free. I appreciate it. You want the Spirit of God to move? I'm thankful. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. The devil will tell you it won't be worth the fight. The devil will tell you to quit, stop, don't. I never was one of these athletes, and maybe I'll use a boxer. These boxers, when they box, they don't just stand here in the ring like I'm standing right now. They don't just stand there. They're constantly moving and they have to condition to get themselves to the spot to be able to endure all these rounds of activity, abuse, yeah. And maybe in our spiritual way, if we just stand right here and say, well, the devil, if he knocks me off my feet, he just knocks me off my feet. We got the little app on our phone, the Holiness Voices app. It said, I'm going to praise him. The song that Eric Hayes sang, I'm going to praise him in advance. What if we was to praise God in advance for some of the things he's going to do? What if we was to say, Lord, I'm going to take a round for you. I'm going to run a little bit. I ain't just going to stand here and just, Lord, if you bless us tonight, you bless us. I don't know about you, but I need the Lord daily. I need the Lord daily. I need him just to help me, to strengthen me. I'm so thankful how God has helped us. Every time you think, man, I feel like my boat's taking on water, the Lord comes in there and just... We read one spot where the disciple was on there. And so they went down there and the Lord was fast asleep down there inside the ship. The Lord's right there with you. He keeps his hand on you. The devil wants you to think it ain't going to happen tonight. He wants you to think it ain't going to happen tonight. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. But Brother Greg, I'm still young. I got my life before me. Has the Lord told you you're going to live to be old? Has the Lord told you that you got this magic number that you're going to live till? And I know it talks about the life of a man, being 70+10, the 70 years. But you go up here to the cemetery or to a cemetery, and you see some of them numbers those folks were. Right. You see some of the numbers. Some folks don't get to be a teenager. Some folks don't get to be a 20-year-old. There's no, it's all over the board. Some people live to be 100. Stay in the boat. Appreciate the Lord. Appreciate your pastor. And he was stirred up this morning. Started up last Sunday, but he was stirred up this morning. Stirred up. Just passing through. He said right here is his main battlefield. He's trying to fight the enemy to help you. He's trying to fight the enemy to encourage you, trying to fight the enemy and push the enemy back, just so you can get just a little bit of help or a lot of help, however much the Lord sees fit. Yeah, maybe the Lord hasn't never came and called one of my family members by name that was dead in a tomb or in the grave. But how many things has the Lord done for you? How many times, I might have shared it with y'all when we was out here in that revival. We were getting ready to leave. I loaded my children up, and my little girl, she had a piece of hard candy, and I didn't really think about it. I just didn't register it. She put it in her pocket. And I buckled them in, and I was trying to get them ready for us to leave. And my oldest girl came in there, and she said, Daddy, Ruthie's choked. Oh, man, I was tore up. I seen that piece of candy. I knew she had that piece of candy, but I didn't go to the next step, what could happen by not going ahead and removing that obstacle from her. It ends up she was able to swallow that piece of candy, but what if she hadn't been able to? What if she'd have been blue when I got out there? What if she wouldn't have been able to respond when I got out there? God's right on time. God's right there. That's just a small thing. Brother Greg, that's just a piece of candy. Every young'un's done that. There's been young'uns die of that. When my son was 5 days old and we had to rush him for emergency surgery over in the Children's Hospital in Lexington, and he's back there and he just had his three-year birthday. Man, that ain't, there's children that die of this malrotation. There's people that die that they don't catch these kinds of things. When you're driving down the road and the car right in front of you has a blowout tire and they don't hit you, that ain't just a coincidence. That's something that God's done because you're right there in the boat. And when something abnormal happens and you're thinking, man, we were lucky, that's God being right on the scene. That's God coming right on the scene. And it happens for me over and over and over. You think, Brother Greg, there ain't no way God's helped you like that. Yeah, God's helped me like that. God's helped me like that. He's blessed me. And sometimes We're so blessed that we forget that it's a blessing, and we almost think, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. It wasn't coincidence you was here tonight. It ain't coincidence that this is what the Lord laid on my heart. Stay in the boat.
All right.
Stay in the boat. But Brother Greg, I ain't got no intention. When I'm driving down the road, I don't have no intention my front tire gonna blow out. I'm planning on that dude gonna last for a while. I'm planning on it's just gonna keep on lasting. But a few weeks ago, I was in my pickup truck, and I heard the sound that sounded like metal on metal when I applied the brake. Now, I could have said, well, it's probably my brakes. And went ahead and said, you know, it's going to cost. I didn't know how to fix it. That's going to cost a lot of money. I took it to the shop. Guy said, man, your brakes are bad. They're real bad. We got to have it fixed. When you see that there's some kind of problem, don't just say, you know, because it could have been that one day I go to apply that brake. Vehicle not stop. There could be a time we think, you know, I'm just going to ease out of the boat just a little bit. I ain't going to sing because what are they going to think about if I cough a little bit? I ain't going to sing tonight. Sis, I enjoy your songs. I enjoy when you sing. Thank the world of y'all's brother, man, Brother Mason. I love Brother Mason. He stirs you up about every time you're around him. But the devil want to talk to you right in your ear. You ain't helping nobody. I don't know what the devil might not have talked to that little sister that ran around here this morning, but she probably wouldn't have got a blessing if she hadn't ran around here. Stay in the boat. I know it's a very simple thought. I know it's just a very
Good preaching. Good preaching.
You've probably heard this several times. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. I appreciate the Lord. So thankful. Get ready to give it back over to you, Pastor. But appreciate the Lord. Stay in the boat.
Good preaching. Somebody come get us a song. We're going to open up the altar. I don't care who we are. There's been times in our lives that when a storm hit, that you think, I just can't take any more of it. And if you're not going through it tonight, then who knows what you're going to face tomorrow. Because the Lord didn't lay that on his heart just to have something. I mean, now he didn't just get up and preach that tonight just to have something to say. I really believe the Lord laid it on his heart to help us tonight. But I don't know what I'm going to be facing tomorrow. When you look around, can I handle any more? We can with the Lord standing by us. We can when he's right beside of us. We can take one more step. Hallelujah. We can set the sails, or we can take them down and bear the wind however God desires it. But we can take it when he's standing by our side tonight, can't we? Hallelujah. Can we stand all over the house tonight as we open up this altar?